Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Wasted Local Talent. I'm Eric, and I have Daniel Bonner sitting right next to me, but he can't read this because he keeps fucking it up. What you just heard was not Worst Kept Secret, but a shameless plug for Daniel Bonner's own band, After Atlas. They have a new single, Deception, that dropped today on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and all the other music streaming sites. But not to take anything away from Worst Kept Secret, because they're swell dudes and you should check them out. But after you check out Deception. On today's episode, we have Tim Cross from Real Shoot Wrestling, but you'll hear about that in a bit, providing you stick around after this intro. You should also check out 13 Palm Tree's other radical podcasts. Those include D&D Kinda, Video Game Mythos, and Gurus of Gaming. I know you're ready to hear about wrestling, but before I fade in this episode, I want to tell you about this nifty little app I found called Podcoin. It gives you coins for listening to podcasts. Coins, as in cryptocurrency, not a physical coin. These coins can be redeemed for gift cards on Amazon, Starbucks, and other places, or you can donate your coins to charities. So I signed up Wasted Local Talent for an account, and wouldn't you believe it, we have a promo code for you. So if you sign up, you can get an additional 300 coins, which is the equivalent of 1.759 stickers. That promo code is WASTED. That's right, folks. WASTED. 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 As in, I just wasted my time reading this intro. If you're looking to download the app on your iPhone or Android device, it is again Podcoin. Podcoin. Well, I'm thoroughly sick of doing this intro shit, so here's the episode.
Lay me down and count me my vices, 'cause all of this is for
What's up, everybody? I'm Jed,
And I'm Chris Rad.
and this week we're wasting our talent with...
Tim Cross from Real Shoot Wrestling.
What is going on, Tim?
Not much, guys.
How are you dealing with getting slammed through the tables and the road dogging?
Actually, it's getting there. I'm feeling I've got some bruised ribs.
Yeah.
Hurts
when you pee?
It hurts when I pee. It hurts when I go from laying down to sitting up. And it hurts when
breathing.
Breathing.
That's the funny thing.
Yeah, because what's funny though is when the situation happened. I mean, none of it's funny because it all sucked. But the table broke and came across and hit me in the face.
Damn.
Yeah, as soon as I went through it. So first thing I did was automatically be in absolute pain, but roll over and check to make sure my teeth were still there.
Sure.
They were there.
Nice.
The guy afterwards was like, dude, I thought it was your eye. But I didn't think about it at all, and I had felt that there was a lot of liquid going on right here, and I was like, man, that can't all be spit. So I'm just freaking out, and I just go like this, and just a puddle of blood comes out of my face.
Oof.
Yeah, and then I see it dripping, and it's gushing, and I'm just like, oh man, this was not supposed to happen. But I could still breathe, so I knew my nose wasn't broke. It just took a hit.
Right, really bad pop.
Yeah, so it took a really bad pop from the table coming around and hitting me, and the same with my rib.
Was it the ricochet of the table that messed
I
you up?
literally went through the table, hit the canvas, the table came in and sandwiched me.
Oh,
this
geez.
side came and hit me right in the ribs, this side came and hit me right in the face. Yeah, and the only reason why I
Double
say
whammy.
that, oh yeah, so a lot of people were like, "Oh my gosh, how did it feel to go through that?" I was like, "Fine." It was afterwards. It sucked.
Right.
So yeah, just kind of trying to feel better from that and rest up, but I haven't really had time to rest this week. Really, I've been
You
kind
look
of on
great,
the
though.
go.
You look great,
Hey, I
though.
try to pull it off.
You threw a nice little shirt on for us.
Well,
you know
I
what
came
mean?
from church, so I didn't do it for you
Well, I'm
guys.
going to lie to myself.
I was thinking
gonna
about
lie.
putting a T-shirt on, but I was like,
No
"Ah."
sleeves, like the old days.
Yeah, right.
Gentleman sport days.
The Jared Miller.
Jared
look.
Miller special.
Yeah.
Does he get to own that though? I don't think that's fair.
Not
I was
so
rocking
much,
a cutoff tee before I knew who that prick was.
Not so well, but see, here's the thing: you're not here right now wearing it. Jared would be here right now wearing it.
I don't know. Don't be so sure.
Oh,
dog.
geez.
Don't be so sure,
Hidden
dog.
surprise.
He actually does, but you got a hoodie on. You know,
Right,
it's not like
I
you're
have
rocking.
some
It's
self-respect.
not like you're rocking a cutoff shirt with a cutoff flannel too. You know,
That's true. That's true. Don't double down on a cutoff.
Yeah,
you
you
get
can't.
one layer of cutoff.
Yes.
And that's it.
You don't double down on that.
So
at
why
all,
don't you
ever.
take notice, Jared Miller?
Yeah, Jared, come
You
on.
vain bastard.
Now he's rocking the jean coats like he was in Bon Jovi in '86.
That or Randy Jackson. He's got this weird Randy Jackson fetish right now, which is strange.
I love
Like
Jared.
from American Idol?
No, like the country singer, right?
Oh, Alan Jackson.
Alan Jackson.
Alan Jackson.
That's it.
Yeah,
Sorry.
he's all about putting on the cowboy boots, rolling up the sleeves, and going to town. I don't
Elkins
know.
is going hard on Jared Miller, I guess.
What is happening?
I don't know what's happening.
He
down there.
literally just told you it's Elkins.
Twilight Zone.
It's Elkins getting him.
It's in the water down there. You started
That
singing
water-
country songs you didn't even know you liked.
That water's been horrible for a while.
Acid mine drainage. That's what gives him his radioactive muscles.
Yeah, that's where it's at. That's what makes
Is that
him
what
think
makes
it's
his
okay to
legs
go.
so small?
Well,
That's what makes him think it's okay to do double layer cutoffs.
he's delusional. He's delusional. So let's talk about Real Shoot, man. How long has Real Shoot been going on?
Well, actually, the funny thing about Real Shoot is it's been going on for probably 5 years now. Like the name itself, because it was actually because of one of Jared Miller's friends. The dude made a comment he shouldn't have on a other wrestling fan page, and got kicked off of it. Well, he got kicked off, and then he talked to Pat Cole and Jared, and then he talked to me and was like, "Hey man, I'm gonna start another wrestling page just because forget them for kicking me off and this, that, and the other." And he asked me to be a part of it. Well, it was just like a play on words with the name, and it was just a fan page. And then all of a sudden,
Because I remember that. I
Yeah.
remember when you sent that to me.
it was literally just like, "Hey, if you watch wrestling, let's talk about it here," type deal.
Sure.
And then all of a sudden, because before that, the reason why they picked me up on it was because I was a pro wrestler. I was in wrestling. I was in the business, side of things per se. So I knew a little bit more than the average person. So that's why they wanted to bring me on, like as an admin on the Facebook page. Well, as the years went by, we were just building like a following, and then a friend of mine, my old trainer, TJ Phillips, he actually hit me up and was like, "Hey, I've got this opportunity where a bunch of different companies want to get together and work some stuff out. But the thing is this person doesn't want their name, thinking it's more important than this person, and then vice versa. Would you be cool with us just calling it Real Shoe Wrestling?" And I was like, "Well, man, that's kind of what I was shooting towards, is end up getting something to where I could run my own promotion with the name, or just have a title that could be defended on shows type deal." And he was like, "Yeah, I really like the name, and I'd like to just use that for this." And we did that. But what was funny is I let him use the name, but I was just on the production side of things. I made sure it looked cool. I made sure the lights, I made sure the sound was really good. And there was some people in the office, part of it, that just wasn't holding up to their end and doing everything they possibly could to make it as good as possible. So I went to TJ and was like, "Hey man, you don't need these people. Like, I can do this myself, right?" And he was like, "No, I didn't know that." And I was just like, "Get them out of here. They suck."
Hostile takeover, baby.
Yeah. So, they were just cheap on people. And there's just no way that I expect people to go out there and sacrifice their body
Hell no.
for $10 or for free. That's not how this is working.
No.
So I was like, "Get them the hell out of here. They're bad for business," and that's essentially what we did. We got them out of there, and I came in and took over, and it's been me and TJ ever since. But recently now, TJ wants to kill Real Shoot Wrestling, and pretty much me, it feels like. So he's trying to, he's pretty mad. I had a wrestler, kind of brainwashed me last year, and I threw a fireball in TJ's face. So he has some reasonings to be mad at me, but he also understands the situation.
Boy.
But I don't know where he's at right now mentally, and I haven't been able to talk to him. So.
Oh, wow. So there's the fireball in the face, I guess we'll do that.
Yeah, like I said, I understand him, but if he would just talk to me, I think we could get this all cleared up. But he's not one to want to talk things out.
Oh, I see.
He wants to physically solve things all the time. So,
Well, you guys are in business together, and you have to eventually sit at the round table together and try to work it out.
who knows? I don't know. I don't know if he wants to.
Yeah?
After the last show, and like I said, being powerbombed through a flaming table, I don't really know if that's the route that we can go. But we have a show coming up May 4th, and then we'll see what happens. But I have some surprises in my back pockets if he tries to pull that stuff again. So,
Oh, boy.
yeah, May 4th in Mannington, West Virginia. May the 4th be with you is the name of the show.
Okay.
Excellent.
It's a Star Wars themed show, so I figured you guys would
Excellent.
dig that, But you know, I have to protect myself from this point on. So
Yeah.
I got some surprises, and we'll see what happens then. Because it can't just go away. I've got people relying on me and fans that want to see it. So we're gonna have to try to fight for this as long as we possibly can.
This is like Vinnie Mac versus Stone Cold Steve Austin kind of thing.
Yeah, except for like Vinnie Mac is the good guy in this story, and Stone Cold's the asshole. I'm sorry, I don't know if I cuss here, but
You can say whatever
you
you
can
want.
say whatever
man.
you want.
Oh,
Say
okay,
whatever
cool.
you want.
Cool.
Your
Well,
episode,
Oh
man.
man, well you guys are in trouble. No. Yeah, it's kind of roles reversed. It's kind of like it's almost like an NWO kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
Except okay, best way to put it, a satanic NWO is trying to come into Real Shoot Wrestling and take over.
Nah, bro.
Yeah, because they're
Can't let that happen.
big. They're big on the darker side of things in
They
life.
listen to Slayer and
No, they don't like Slayer, but like Misfits and stuff like that. They're you know, I think it's called Acid Bath or something.
Oh,
some
okay.
shit like
Right
that.
on.
Awful.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if you like that, that's cool. I don't mean anything against it. But
the recordings are rough.
yes,
They're very rough.
a band could be awesome, but if your recordings are awful, then I don't care.
It's tough. It's tough to fully get the dynamics when it just sounds like it was recorded through
In a bathtub.
cassette tape. Recorder
little
in a
Fisher
in a-
Price.
Yeah, Fisher Price special in a bathroom somewhere.
But yeah, that's pretty much what's going on with us right now. Just just surviving, essentially. And then we got a really cool show May 18th here in Fairmont, West Virginia, at the Old Armory through Fairmont Senior High School football team. They bought us show, and they want to bring us on in, and we're gonna entertain
The kids.
entertain the football team and anybody from Fairmont that wants to come, that night. Then we're actually in Buchanan, May 24th, bringing in Teddy Hart
Nice.
from the Hart family.
Legendary.
Legendary Hart family. I actually already had him, and we talk all the time. He's a really cool guy. Like I didn't
Most
expect.
guys in wrestling are super cool because it's such a blue collar endeavor.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
it's really difficult to get caught up in the ego while you're going through the come up.
Yeah.
Because you're just constantly being humbled. Shows are so hit and miss.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much like being a musician.
That's why it was so easy for me to transform
Mm-hmm.
from that to that, because it's regardless, it's entertainment.
Right.
And entertainment's the same. You go up there, you're a showman. You're putting on a show for these people, because guess what? If they like your songs, they can sit at home
And just check
and
them
listen
out.
to your CD.
Exactly.
All they want, know. Perfect notes every time.
Right.
Everything, nothing messes up.
Mm-hmm.
But you want them to come to that show because
Give them an extra flavor.
yeah. I mean,
the pheromones and
yeah, I mean, like, look at bands like Aerosmith. They're not even like a touring band now. They literally started, like, this year they're going to be in Vegas. And they're just going to be like a Vegas band.
doing the residency thing.
Yeah, but they've got like there's shows on the stage. There's lights on they could do so much more show wise to where it's like, yeah, I've been listening to these songs for 30 years, but I didn't see the shit they're doing now. I've got to go see that, even though they look like they're getting ready to die.
Yeah. Someone might croak on this.
Yeah,
residency.
and Steven Tyler looks like my aunt, but but you want to go see that because it's like, look at all the other stuff that's going on. It's like Kiss.
Yeah.
That's why I thought in '96 when I saw them on the reunion tour, I was like, holy shit, like look at all the stuff they're doing.
Right.
And then now I'm just like, it's still the same songs. I mean, they did write a new album, but it's still the same songs that everybody goes to see.
Sure.
And they took their show up even more, and it's just like
They have to compensate for their lack of physical presence.
yeah, I mean,
The production hides a lot.
it does.
Ozzy Osbourne has been basically banking on that since the early 2000s, and Ozfest
bro.
was a thing.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Like-
But still, I don't get it. That guy can barely walk around his house, but when music starts, it's like he becomes a kangaroo. He's just all over the place. He can barely talk, but I can always understand what he's saying when he sings.
Cocaine's still a hell of
Yeah, I
a
was
drug.
about to say.
Still,
I
hell
think
of
it's
a
all
drug.
him. I definitely don't think it's all him.
So let's dive deep into the wrestling shit.
Sure.
We should talk about everyone's top 5.
Dude, that's
I know that's tough.
That can start.
You don't have to necessarily rank them.
That could start fights.
Well, this is it. This is the kind of podcast. It's
Really,
gonna be.
the people do the Mount Rushmore of wrestling recently. It seems like,
Yeah.
you know. So top 5, I think, is even better because
You got it, and even then, there's going to be a 6th and 7th guy where you're like, man, how can I?
how did I
put
not
them
get him in there? You know.
I feel like my picks are all going to be like super basic bitch because I only watched like whenever I was little in
But
the
still,
late 90s, early 2000s.
But you were invested then.
but still,
that was the golden age.
There's
I
still,
consider the golden age.
there's still some truth to what you're going to say though, because you were into him then, and I know, gosh darn well, you're going to say at least 2 to 3 people that
We're gonna.
I
agree
might
with.
not agree with, but at the same time, when it comes to facts and money made and everything, how can I disagree? You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Do it. Go ahead.
you want me to start?
I mean, yeah.
Oh man. Okay. All right. Let me think here.
And they
You're
don't
like-
have to be necessarily
In
ranked.
that- They
don't have to be
the
in an
5,
order.
but these are the 5
Okay,
guys
okay,
who are
okay.
battling it
All
out
right.
in the rankings.
Yeah.
So definitely for me, one of them would have to be Stone Cold.
Absolutely.
I could tell by the haircut.
Yeah. Just this was not optional. This had to happen.
Oh no, mine's coming too. Like if it was up to my wife, I would have shaved this week because
Yeah.
she wanted it really.
This is
'cause
not a choice.
But I just
My-
haven't had the time.
Every morning I have a little ritual whenever I wake up. I'd lay in bed for like a half hour and I just like go through my old Facebook memories, check my bank accounts, make sure like I have a little ritual. And I've like noticed that I can see where my hair loss started.
Oh,
22. 22 years old, it started going.
man, mine started when I was like 25,
That's tough.
and like it's just, it's here, it's here.
See, mine was going here.
Oh, mine
front,
started
there
here
was no
in
saving
the
it.
back first before it started. Now my
Front
hair's
recede.
like trying to meet in the middle. I've got it losing in the back, I'm losing in the front. Now all of a sudden I'm gonna have a pancake of hair on top of my head. Soon
I'll
enough.
donate all the hair you guys need.
Hey, bro, I need it.
I love you guys.
I need a Chris Rab wig.
Yeah, I'll hook you guys up, man. Never been dyed, all natural.
I
It's
need
gonna
like
smell good.
I just need like 3 inches, man. I can do a
I'll
lot of
take
cool
care
stuff
of you.
with a wig.
I can take care of you. All right, so Stone Cold.
Yeah, Stone Cold. And then probably Chris Jericho would probably be up there for me.
Hey, that's
One
a
of
good
the greatest guys on the mic.
That's one of the greatest guys of all time.
Because I remember
that's
like
honestly my goat. So I'm going to 100% agree with you.
I
on
remember
Yeah,
what I always
Jericho
liked
guy.
about him was when I was still watching wrestling, he wasn't really like a big name, and I never really thought that he ever would be. And then it had been a couple years that I hadn't really watched, and all of a sudden I realized that like he had blown up and was like super successful. Mm-hmm. And I just thought that was awesome because I never
Hell of
thought
a musician.
Yeah.
Hell of a fucking frontman.
I remember whenever he was tag team partners with Edge.
Yeah.
Wasn't it Edge? Whenever
Yes.
he first came to like, WWF?
No,
Or still WWF?
He came to WWF on his own, but it hung out that way for a while, and then like teamed with Christian for a while and had a feud with him over like I think it was
Christian, not Edge.
it's Christian, and
Yeah.
it was a feud over Trish Stratus,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then kind of after that is when it literally started to like everybody started to notice how really good he was.
He was super good.
And he got the push and got the notice that he deserved because I think it was the very next year he faced Shawn Michaels at Mania. And that is,
It's a hell of a
and that's what
match.
people say that's top 5 matches of all time at Mania.
It's up there.
And to me, it's like 1-2 with Savage and Steamboat, Mania matches. Those two right there, it's hard for me to pick a 1 or 2 there because they're both just so good. So I 100% agree with you on Jericho.
Love Jericho.
Yeah, which is a surprise for someone that says that I'm mainly from the certain time period because Jericho has lasted that long.
Yeah.
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 You got people like Stone Cold. He came in, blew up like crazy.
Yeah.
But in the span of things, he's been gone for how long?
Been a long
Right.
time.
So, but I think Jericho's very easily one of those guys that could be one of the greatest of all time. But he was smart and took time off. And like Chris said, he goes and tours, you know? So he's not always taking that beating on his body.
Yeah.
Which
when he's out there, he's
definitely
giving you
helps.
the best stuff.
Oh, yeah.
He's about as 100% as you could be in this business.
Yes. In the entertainment field.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, I'm remembering so many more as I'm sitting here. Okay, so I'm not really going to be able to remember their names, but it was brothers, and they wore camo.
Oh, the
Dudleys?
Dudley boys.
Dudley boys.
I will disagree with you to the end of this podcast. I hate them.
I just
I
used to
love the
love
tables.
watching them.
I love the table utilization.
yeah.
Like,
They brought.
I used to love like
They
their
put tables
synchronized
on the-
moves and shit.
ECW put tables on the map, and they're a big part of that.
Yeah. But that's the thing, though. Like, they're a big part of that.
Goofy as fuck.
They're a big
super
part of that
goofy.
situation. But they were just there. Like, to me, they didn't.
ECW is a lot bigger than
I'm a
them.
talent guy, wise, you know, and they just didn't have any talent.
They're no
They just went out
RVD.
there and just talked a bunch of smack, like bad smack, raunchy smack. So, you know, it like got that attention. But I'm not that guy to just give somebody attention for stupidity. Like, I just don't. I like talent. And like, what's funny is you brought up Jericho, and I talked about Shawn and Jericho at that WrestleMania match that Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler was calling that match. And they hit a lockup to start the match and then a headlock. And you know, wrestling at that time was just crazy, and tables and everything else.
Yeah.
And
The Attitude
Vince
Era,
and I remember Lawler saying, "Oh man, a headlock to start the match." And Jim Ross goes, "Yeah, who would have thought a wrestling move to start a wrestling match?" You know, like that's just kind of how I am. And I like Devon. I like Devon, but Bully Ray or Bubba Ray, if you would have known him then,
Yeah.
he just gets on my last nerve. I can't stand him. He's done, his head's a little bit bigger than what he's actually done in this business for me. So,
Well then.
All right.
but we won't go that far. We ain't got that kind of time.
All right. So I know who my top one is, so I guess I need to pick my other one that's going to float in. This one's tough. I got it narrowed down to two people.
It was better whenever you had like, you were like, I can't really think of anybody.
Yeah, now they're all like flooding back to me. Man. Probably going to say, and it's a terrible pick now in retrospect because of, you know, things, but probably Chris Benoit.
Hey man.
No, I totally agree with you. That's fine.
He's one of the scariest wrestlers of all
He was
time.
such a physical,
like a guy that you would not want to fight in real
Yes.
life. He's up there.
Yeah, but see, here's my thing. I like these guys that punish him for the way he was. He didn't do that. His brain that is absolutely screwed.
His brain was
did
completely
that.
scrambled on
That,
CTE.
like, I'm not trying to be mean when I say this, but it's like getting mad at an MR person for doing something that they have no control over. Like, his brain was screwed. Like, he had no control. He was schizophrenic. He was losing his mind. Like, I've literally sat down this far away from Kevin Sullivan and had this conversation about Benoit. And if you don't know who Kevin Sullivan is,
No.
Kevin Sullivan was the one that started the feud with Benoit in WCW. And a lot of people say he's the one that pretty much booked his own divorce, because Benoit ended up with Kevin Sullivan's wife. And and that's the one he killed.
Yeah.
And people have even tried to say that it wasn't Benoit and Kevin Sullivan's the one that did it. And
Jesus.
Yeah. But I want you to think about this. The guy sitting across from Kevin Sullivan in this interview, when I'm sitting next to Kevin, he goes, "What do you feel about people saying that you're the one that killed him?" I'm like, "Bro, you did not let me know you were going to ask this question." And he's sitting right here. What are you doing? And he was just like, and Kevin took it with stride. He didn't give
Yeah.
a shit. He was just like, that is absolutely stupid.
Well, that's so ludicrous. You can't get.
Like,
I would understand getting mad, but you would like to think that.
Yeah, he goes,
you don't
my kid. He's like,
placate
my
that.
kids lost their mother. Why the hell would I go and do something like that? That's absolutely stupid, and I cannot stand it when people bring that up. So sure enough, this guy just keeps asking questions about the same stuff, and I'm just like, dude, shut up.
Yeah,
that'd be so
I don't
awkward.
think that when something like that so terrible that he clearly probably did not have any control over, I I don't think it taints the legacy of Benoit. Not as a guy.
it
We're
does
just
to a lot
talking
of
about
people,
the guy in the squared circle. I'm trying to separate those things, and I understand how terrible and tragic it was. But I mean, if you know anything about CTE, you know that this guy was not in the driver's seat.
Yeah, he wasn't in control.
Well, and also just
For who knows how long.
years
Exactly.
For how
years
long?
of steroid abuse as well to get through all the injuries that he had accumulated.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah, the drugs.
Yeah.
It's more the
everything.
pills.
painkillers.
It's the
and
pills
just, like
that get
dude,
you.
he had a rough career.
Something was always broke on him.
Well, and like right whenever he kind
His
of
neck
blew up,
was like fucked.
right
Yeah.
whenever he started getting real popular was whenever a lot of his like bad injuries happened, so he couldn't slow down.
No, he had to cash
You
in.
had to capitalize.
But everybody with that style of wrestling is like that.
oh yeah,
Yeah, oh,
like
yeah.
the way it started was, and he just recently passed. He's one of my favorites of all time, and he will be on my list. The Dynamite Kid.
Yeah.
There was
wow.
the Dynamite Kid from the British Bulldogs from back in the day. Chris Benoit was literally like a mirror image of him, except a little bit lesser, because
A little more technical.
Yeah. And then it moved on to where there's people like Davey Richards, which he was like Benoit, and then you have I forget who it is now that's out there, and he's pretty much kind of following the same suit and the same way of everything, but like these they always had the same mindset of you got to go 100% or there's no damn point of being out there, and that mindset, and you watching your heroes have that mindset, you don't want to disappoint your own heroes. You don't want to disappoint the fans. So you go out there and look at how many years Chris Benoit hit a headbutt as his finish.
Yeah.
Messing up his neck, hitting his head all the time. He would miss them sometimes, screw himself up. I mean, how many times that stuff was just done to himself, just to sacrifice for our entertainment. And to not be able to separate the difference because of the injury that occurred is absolutely ridiculous. And like you said, you should be able to separate the person that was in the squared circle to the person that did what had happened. Like he deserves all the accolades that he has got and should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that Hall of Fame is an absolute joke.
It is. I'm not a big fan of a lot of Hall of Fames.
Yeah.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame,
Dude, that
Football
one
Hall
of
of
the big-
Fame. I think that there's
Football Hall of
clearly
Fame is
politics.
but
I think the NFL maybe have it the most right
Yes.
of anybody, but still there's clearly a political thing going on which taints it to a degree.
very much so.
All right, top wrestler for Jed.
top one, pretty easy pick for me. Mankind.
Yeah, Mick Foley, he's in there for
Yep.
me too.
Pretty much anything that Mick Foley did, honestly. But I remember that was whenever I really would really get into it. Like I remember watching Mankind. That was like right whenever Triple H was on the up and up. I remember him having a lot of good ones with Kane whenever he was still wearing the mask.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And they
him
would
and
do
the Undertaker.
Yep, and the Undertaker. And they would do I remember the one. I'm pretty sure it was WWF where they did the Hell in a Cell.
Oh,
Yes.
King of the
And
Ring.
That was in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And
That was in Pittsburgh.
Kane choke slammed him through the top of the cell, and
that
it
wasn't
fell.
supposed to happen.
Undertaker.
No,
It
it
was
wasn't.
Undertaker.
Yeah, it wasn't supposed to happen, and he
Yeah.
fell like 30 feet onto a table with tacks on it. Right?
Well, when he threw him off onto the announcer table, that was planned.
That was just off.
That was kind of Mick's idea. He
Yeah.
was like, because you could see
He
him
said, I got to
talking-
do something big.
Right. But when he chokeslammed him through the top, they had engineered the cage where that was supposed to be able to take it.
Yeah.
And I guess they were up there for too long, both
Yeah.
standing kind of in that same circle. And he just fucking went right through that shit and just fucking took the bump on the mat with the tacks.
with the tacks.
Just from earlier.
Yeah.
And then he fucking played it off and started sticking the tacks in his face, and his tooth was like in his
Well,
nose.
Yep.
Well, what had happened?
He,
the
like,
reason
bit through his lip,
People
right?
say when the camera comes around, it looks like he's smiling. He's not smiling. There's a hole in his lip, and
Yeah.
he can feel it. And in his mind, he's like, if I can put my tongue through my lip, that's going to be a great visual. So literally, he comes around, and it just looks like he's smiling because he can't get his tongue through his lip.
Yeah.
But he's trying.
Yeah.
Right when the camera's there. So you see what people thought was just snot. That's his tooth up here.
Right.
And then he's trying to put his lip through right here.
Jesus.
So it just makes it look like he's fucking whacked out and smiling.
Yeah.
But I will agree with you to an extent.
What about the Japanese Terry Funk death matches? He deserves to be in there for those alone. JCW.
I was going to
shit.
go
Cactus
Cactus Jack.
Yeah.
Not Mankind for me. Cactus Jack was absolutely phenomenal.
And then I still loved the shit that he did whenever he was just Mick Foley.
Yeah.
Whenever he wasn't
Yeah.
Mankind. I mean,
Yeah.
I loved everything.
when
he
it came
did.
full circle and it
when
was
he
just
was
like
the commish for a
yeah,
while.
Yeah.
yeah. When it came
Yeah.
full circle and it was like, hey, there's Dude Love, there's Cactus Jack, there's Mankind, but there's this guy, Mick Foley, you
Right.
know? And that was cool. But my favorite out of all of them was Cactus Jack, 100%. WCW, the bang bang and the elbow off the apron. That shit was, everybody thought that was crazy. What are you doing jumping on the ground like that?
Right. I actually had a chance to meet Mick Foley when I was a little kid when that Have a Nice Day biography came out. He did a book signing at the Meadowbrook Mall, of all places.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And my mom took me, and I got the book signed and everything. And I also brought a little Socko that I had made.
Oh, my God.
And he signed that too.
That's
He
amazing.
was so gracious and so cool.
Oh, he's really cool. Now he like literally is Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Did you see that documentary?
No.
He's got a documentary on Netflix where he's just that if you see him now, he's got short hair, but he's got a really long beard.
Yeah.
And if he could be Santa Claus every day, he'd be Santa Claus.
He's you could tell
super-
he's got a very, very sweet heart.
He does, and he's super into just playing that character. Like he does that now during the winter years, and like if you see anything WWE related with a Santa Claus, they usually just get Mick because Mick loves doing it. But like if you ever get a chance, go on Netflix and see if you can find that documentary where he's just going around talking to Santa Clauses, like people that live the Santa Claus life all year round. He's talking to them, doing documentaries with them. It's insane.
He's got 2 New York Times bestseller books. The children's book that he did, and then his
He's got more than
biography
that
book.
now.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah,
Good for you, Mick.
He's got.
He's
I mean,
always
he draws
been-
it all. Well, Lawler draws it all for him.
Jerry the King Lawler.
Jerry the King Lawler draws all of his kids' books for him.
I had no idea.
Yeah,
I had no idea. That's awesome.
he's a really good artist.
Incredibly talented dude. One of the great personalities of wrestling. No question. All right.
So
my
there's your
turn.
5. That wasn't a bad 5. Let's go over it again. Stone Cold, Jericho, Benoit,
Yep.
Mick Foley. Well, you picked Mankind, and who was the other one?
The Dudley Boys.
Oh, the Dudley Boys. So
yeah.
you picked the tag team.
Yeah. Like as a collective group.
That
They're tag
counts.
team.
That
That
works.
counts.
Yeah.
That
That
counts.
works. That works.
The other one I was kind of debating was The Rock, just because, like,
You know, there's no explanation. I get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy has done everything. Like
Maybe
he's
the greatest-
He's made
greatest-
movie stars look like little bitches. He's made wrestlers look like little bitches with all the money he brings in.
the greatest smack talker in the history of wrestling.
Now, see, I'm going to tell you that that's wrong, and I'll tell you why.
I don't know.
He did not write any of that.
Well, he still had to execute. It's
He
still
had
his
to deliver.
character, and
He had to deliver, which makes me feel like you're a great character.
Right.
But that's are you gonna let somebody write your songs and your lyrics? Ooh. Yeah, like you can't be like, oh man, he's a great front man. I'm like, he doesn't write his own lyrics. Like how can like you can
Fair.
deliver the songs, but unless you can write it
all right,
yourself,
well, who is then?
you get
who is
smack talker.
Yeah,
That's a whole other genre.
probably Ric Flair.
Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes,
Dusty Rhodes was an innovator.
Superstar Billy Graham, Macho Man Randy Savage,
the Cream.
The Ultimate Warrior.
the cream of the crop, or the cup of coffee in the big time. Yeah, that one. That one.
Cosmos are gonna be coming
Yeah, yeah, dude. He was. I loved it. He's like,
No,
oh,
no Ultimate Warrior love?
Fuck the Ultimate Warrior, most overrated wrestler of all time. Yeah, he's fucking overrated.
he's
I say.
no, he's. I don't think he was
He ain't
overrated
no,
I
he ain't
don't.
no macho man.
Because I don't think
He ain't
anybody.
no macho man.
I don't think he's overrated because I don't think anybody actually thought he could wrestle.
I just love
They were
the,
just like,
the
"Hey, man, we
montage
love
He just
your-
had a badass character.
We love your
that's it.
intensity.
Yeah.
We only need you to go out there for about 2 minutes, and a minute and a half is your entrance.
Yeah.
Right.
Just go out there and do, you know. So a character wise, Ultimate Warrior was one of the coolest, like looking and everything when
For
you're
sure.
young. But I 100% agree with you. He is he's
weak sauce and
weak
square
sauce and
circle.
overrated.
Yes.
But see, like I can't say he was a good talker either because no one knew what the hell he was saying ever.
Oh, he was insane.
Ever.
Yeah.
Other good talkers, Arn Anderson.
Oh,
Very
yeah.
underrated as a talker
Yeah.
from the Four Horsemen. There's a lot of good ones nowadays, but I don't know if you'll really know them. But like Marty Scroll, he was a part of the Bullet Club, and just last night he faced Nick Aldis for the NWA World Heavyweight title.
Interesting.
And they had the Crockett Cup. They're bringing the NWA stuff back, which is funny
shit.
because the owner of the NWA is Billy Corgan.
Yes, he is.
He owns from Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah.
Yeah, he owns the NWA and has
I had heard that and
and
was
has
like,
been
holy
bringing
shit.
it back for like the past 3 years.
Yeah. Well, he's got nothing else to do. He's just collecting them royalty checks. We've got to put it into something.
Their last album was so bad.
Yeah. That fan base, though, I mean,
Oh,
if he
yeah.
goes out, he's going to just capitalize.
And they've been really smart. And anybody in the wrestling business is really smart if they're out there. They do these like little webisodes type deal and explaining like from point A to point B and the reason why you want to watch this feud and situation, which is really good. AEW is a new company that's getting ready to start with like the Young Bucks and Cody Rhodes and them. With the Khans from Jacksonville Jaguars, his son, the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, his son actually is starting a promotion with Cody Rhodes, and they pretty much got all the old. They're pretty much following the old format of like WCW.
Yeah.
They got TNT. They're going to be on Tuesday nights, Tuesday Night Dynamite or something like that. They hired some older guys, smart. They got JR on commentary.
There you go. That'll bring him in.
So, 100% that'll bring them in. And I know that they're going to keep picking at some older guys to get that.
To get the names,
smart.
but also some up and coming
Yeah.
guys too. A
Like
nice mix.
They have a really good mix of younger guys right now.
Nice.
So they do need to get that vet status. Almost.
Wrestling's all about those marquee names, man. Even it doesn't matter if they're really worth the shit in the ring anymore. People are going to go just to be like, I saw fucking Rowdy Roddy Piper.
This West Virginia is really all about that too. Like it can be Joe Blow that, but if they were on TV for a minute,
They're coming out.
they're coming.
Yeah.
So that could be a good thing. That could be a bad thing. So,
Yeah.
but yeah. So, they're definitely pushing on some older names like they got JR, and I know Arn Anderson recently was fired from WWE as an office guy, so I know they're going to think about that. Dean Malenko recently just left.
Dean Malenko.
Yesterday, he just put in his notice and was gone. So
Damn.
I have a feeling.
A lot of shakeups.
I have a
happening
feeling
right now in the wrestling world.
AEW's office is going to get real old school.
A lot of
about
veterans
things.
in there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that'll be huge for them because they have a lot of experience in those rooms.
And they have a lot of young, great talent. So, with a lot of vets' mind and a lot of great talent, hopefully that's something that will push and pull WWE's heads out of their asses and make wrestling in that aspect more entertaining too.
Support your motherfucking wrestling.
Yes,
Support your motherfucking wrestling.
totally.
All right, my top
I'm gonna
five
need the
real
I
quick.
was going to say I need to hear that 5 from you.
Rick fucking Flair.
Oh yeah,
Mr. WrestleMania, Shawn Michaels.
good one.
Okay.
The goddamn Undertaker. If you got a problem with the fucking Undertaker, I will choke slam you anytime, anywhere in front of your immediate family. Fuck you. Fuck you and whoever had you. You're not worth shit.
Yeah,
My corny pick
that was a quick
is
5. By the way. And Undertaker was the only one that got an explanation, and all it
I
pretty
don't need
much
to
was.
explain.
And
I
all
don't
it
need
pretty
to
much
explain
was
Ric
fuck
Flair.
you.
I don't need to explain Ric Flair. I don't need to explain Mr. WrestleMania.
Yeah.
If you don't know about that shit, turn it off right now. Fuck you. It's the wrong episode for you. The excellence of execution. Bret Hart was one of my favorite wrestlers of the 90s. Like, technical, not the craziest to watch, but towards the end of his tenure in WWF, his rivalry with Shawn Michaels and how he really stepped up the game. And he was so huge for WCW when they were really battling it out on Monday night. I think that Bret Hart is criminally underrated and one of my favorites. But the top for me, as cheesy as it is, but it just doesn't get any bigger than Hulk Hogan, man.
Somehow knew you were gonna say. Hulk
I
Hogan.
mean, you got
Hulk fucking Hogan. As a kid, I remember I had the cassette tape because we didn't have cable television, and I had cassette tapes, like the Hulkamania series, like cassette tapes. And the one I would play out all the fucking time was the build-up and the storyline between him and Andre the Giant. And I've watched that match probably a fucking million times.
yeah.
And I don't know, when you're a little kid and you see Hulk Hogan body slam Andre the Giant, like that was just larger than life.
It was, but do you realize how many times it happened before that?
Well, yeah, but the thing
Once
is,
I find it
you
now,
have
I'm
to
like, damn, that's
understand it.
corny as hell. But like,
Well,
in
it's
that
all
time,
about
it's like,
it's all
oh
about
my
the
God.
context. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
all about the context. Like I wasn't able to watch wrestling all the time, so all I had was just these get it whenever I could because this is pre-internet, people.
Which made
There ain't
wrestling way
YouTube.
cooler.
Yeah, it was because it starved you out, and you were waiting for Monday night. You were waiting for Saturday morning.
Yeah.
You know, watching WWF in your house or WCW Saturday morning where Sting and the Ultimate Warrior kind of paint would go out there and
Yeah.
fucking fight Ric Flair. Like, that shit was the bomb.
See, like
Stunning Steve Austin before he was Stone Cold.
now, before we go any further with that, that was my favorite Steve Austin.
Stunning Steve?
I loved Stunning Steve, but mainly I
With
liked
the vests.
Oh, with
he
the-
still had the vest then.
I liked him with the long hair and like the Ric Flair robes and the beautiful women.
Yep.
Like that was the Stunning Steve Austin that I really dug because that's just what I grew up on.
Right.
You know, and plus his trainer was gentleman Chris Adams from WCCW. He was from the UK. First guy to like throw super kicks and stuff like that. But they called them Savate kicks back then. They didn't become super yet. but yeah, like I was a huge fan of him. And then when they worked that storyline where Steve Austin was his trainee and they did the trainer versus trainee thing, that's when I became a big fan of Steve. But it was because of gentleman Chris Adams
yeah.
and Texas wrestling that got me really into it because that was on ESPN at like 4:00 every day when I came home.
Right.
So it was like my grandma was like, all right, 4:00, we're watching ESPN and we're watching this. And he had like the missing link. I don't know if you remember him, but he was a
wow,
guy
yeah.
that had like one ponytail. Like literally everything else was shaved except for a ponytail. And the rest of his face was painted green. His lips was red. He was the missing link. He was like Texas's George the Animal Steel. Like how he would rip open the turnbuckles and go all crazy and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's kind of what he was to Texas, and so like I remember that real Southern style wrestling, and then being from West Virginia, obviously Pittsburgh's right there. So and Pittsburgh was a humongous like WWF area. So right here is where I could get the Southern style wrestling on ESPN, and I could get the Northern WWE on USA, so it was awesome.
Right.
But there were
Oh,
some people
yeah.
that just never got WWF.
I know. It's tough.
It's crazy. They just
it's
got
really
that.
tough.
And there's two different styles of wrestling.
Oh, for sure.
Like at that time,
For sure.
now there's lucha libre and strong style, and there's just so many different styles.
Can
of
I tell
wrestling.
you that one of my favorite types of wrestling to watch is Japanese shoot wrestling? I love watching Japanese.
Yeah, that strong
wrestling.
style type. Oh yeah, well they're out there, and that's what's kind of evolved from the AEW. Is those guys went out there and made a name for themselves in Japan.
Yeah.
And
And those crowds want blood, man.
One of my
Like,
favorite.
They want you really putting it on the line out
yeah,
there.
and what's
They're
funny
not
is
impressed.
they're not. It's not like get them, blah.
Dead
It's
silent.
literally dead silence.
Dead silent.
They're watching. You do something they like.
They applaud.
They applaud.
But then they just shut the fuck up.
Boom.
Yeah.
Complete silence again, and just watching out of respect.
I remember I'm a big Unearth fan, and they talk about that the first time they go to Japan. They were like, "Man, we were playing Loud Park. It was crazy. There was a barrier right down the middle of the fucking crowd of 50,000 people strong. And while the songs were going on, they were going ape shit. But as soon as the song was done, it's like the air was sucked out of the room, and they just respectfully clapped and then patiently waited for you to play
for the next thing.
song.
Yep.
And
That's why I want to go to Japan so bad, just to watch a wrestling show. Just because that respect.
that rowdy American, like, yeah, motherfucker.
Yeah,
they're like, whoa, we don't need that.
Yeah,
We don't need that.
they've literally, like, my buddy, he's in Japan right now. Like, he comes back and forth. He's from West Virginia. My trainer is actually the one that trained him. He's working for a company in Japan, and he's like, at first I just didn't know how to react because I hit something badass, and I was like, I got up, I was like, yeah, and they just looked at me. It was just like, I kind of feed off the crowd sometimes, but you've got to teach yourself. You can't do that in Japan. It's a different style. You just kind of got to do your thing and keep going.
Yeah. Just be confident what's happening in those confines
and
of the ring.
And that's why I feel
hopefully
like
it pans
the
out.
Jerichos and those older guys.
They could do the same show to nobody, and it would be the same because they were so.
But they also
sold it.
They
better
also
than anybody.
understood their crowd before they worked in front of them. It's like, okay, we're going to Japan. I can't do the same thing that's going to get a reaction from the crowd in New York that I do in Japan because it's a totally different crowd. Just like if you go into an area that and you've played before, you know what songs pop and hit.
Right.
So, hey, let's play these songs, I don't want to play this song because this crowd's just not going to get it. They're not going to react. It's no
true.
point.
It's
and
true.
that's kind of how it is with wrestling. And Chris Jericho's actually talked about that in his books. You go to Germany, they want wrestling a certain way. You go to the UK, they want it a certain way. You come to New York, they want it a certain way. And that's what makes you that good.
Yeah.
That you can go and work in front of anyone and you're going to be able to make that crowd happy.
Right.
So that's why I feel like the Jerichos have lasted so long and are considered so great, and Flair.
Adaptable, very adaptable.
And Hart.
They're consistent with what they do, but they can adapt to the situation because they are so technical and talented in the ring. Which, Bret Hart, man, I just find him to be a legend.
Oh.
Just a legend. And he, like Ric Flair, he's a guy that you don't appreciate until later in life.
Yep, that's how Eddie Guerrero was for me.
Oh, dude.
I was thinking about
he's
saying
a
him.
monster.
And I'll just go ahead and start. There's one.
That's one of your 5.
Easily one of my 5.
I'm glad you said him because he was
one of the best
I was
Nitro
really thinking about
guys
him.
of that era.
Oh, yeah.
He was a savage.
Oh, for me personally, with him and Art Barr in Mexico was absolutely amazing. But
when he'd come out and the
lowrider,
bumping on air.
Yeah. But what sucks is
man.
I wasn't about Eddie until after.
Yeah.
After he passed.
Yeah.
Like I just kind of
And then you delved
like I
into
always liked him, but I didn't have
I-
the respect and love for him the way I do now.
I hated when he was on his heel arc. Whenever he was kind of like on the up and up.
Oh yeah, I love that.
But then
I like the
when he
heels, too.
switched over, that was whenever I really started liking him.
like when he started doing the stuff with China, and he started to be like the Latino heat.
Yeah.
that
I
shit.
love the
I
Latino
loved it.
heat.
It made me laugh, and it was just like, okay, he's done the super mean heel. He's done the cocky heel. He's done the asshole heel. Like he's done all those things. He's done
Sexy
baby faces.
time.
Now
Sexy
it's like,
time.
hey, it's take a little bit of a break.
Just having fun.
Have fun. Make the people laugh. And
Yep.
people that are good can do that. Michaels has done it in DX.
Sure.
Jericho's done it with plenty of things.
They evolve.
Yeah, and it's just like, the good ones evolve and the other ones just kind of fade away because they don't know what else to do with their character.
Yeah. Right.
Like Jericho has made it very clear, like if he were to come back to WWE, he wouldn't do a list, he wouldn't do a countdown, he's not going to wear the scarf, he's not going to do any of that stuff. I don't see him coming back because
No,
he
I
just
don't
signed this
either.
new this
Fozzie's
thing with
doing way too well.
No, he's with AEW. He's with those guys. He was
okay.
the big name, and that's what's funny is he's like, I'm the big name in this company. I'm the heel. I'm the reason why we're selling these tickets and doing so good.
Right.
Which is a really good idea when this company is like, we're starting and we're not WWE.
He can negotiate a better piece.
So he's an executive vice president.
Oh,
so
there you go.
yeah, so it definitely helps in that.
he's
You
got
put
a
in
good
your
piece.
time. You put in your time, Jericho.
So since talking about Jericho, I'll just go ahead and throw out Jericho number 2.
All right.
Then here's some ones that you'll probably know, but it's not like, I remember their match. Great Muta.
I remember the Great Muta.
The Great Muta. No clue. Okay, he's from Japan. One of the absolute best of all time. Over WrestleMania weekend, he actually came back because he retired. But he actually came back to do a battle royal for New Japan and Ring of Honor. They were doing a show together at Madison Square Garden over WrestleMania weekend. And he actually came back totally 100% unannounced, and I totally shed a tear. When it happened.
Pandemonium.
One single tear.
Pandemonium when he came down.
single
Because my
tear.
buddy hit me up and was like, "Dude, Jay, Muda's in the battle royal," and then I turn it on, and I can go on to my fourth person too, easily off of this. Is I see Muda's entrance, and he's coming out, and he's face painted, and he's also one of those guys. You ever see The Mist? The
Yeah,
Japanese
yeah.
guy that spit the mist.
Yes.
he's one of the first.
Yeah,
he
that's
learned.
how I
he
know
learned
him.
from the
That's
great
how I know.
Kabuki. And in each one of those mists means something. I don't know if you know this. The red is burning; it burns your eyes. The green blinds you, and if you get hit with the black, it means death. There's only been one wrestler hit with black, and he had to wear a black mask the rest of his career after he got hit with it.
Damn.
To where he retired with a plain black mask because he got hit with that. It only happened once. But each one of them like does something and means something.
The Japanese would play it like that.
Yeah, I mean,
That's cool, though.
You got to think.
It adds
he had his own. He had his own cartoon.
Adds a character dynamic.
He had his own cartoon, you know, and he looks like a superhero. So, like that kind of stuff can happen. But going on to the fourth from Muda is Muda gets to the ring, and I don't really know what's going on yet because there's another show like WrestleMania weekend. There's like 50 shows going on all at the same time, so I'm kind of picking and choosing which one I'm watching, and I can go back and watch that one. So that's how I'm thinking about it. I'm like, oh, nothing's really going to happen. It's going to be a really good show, but nothing like wow. Well, Muda gets to the ring. In the ring, already standing, and I did not know this, but Jushin Thunder Liger, and that's number 4. And if you don't know who Jushin Thunder Liger is, he is the one that had the very first match ever with Brian Pillman on WCW Nitro. They had the very first match ever in the Mall of America in Minnesota on the first Nitro ever.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I don't remember that match, but I remember that Nitro.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it was over the summer. Because I remember I was watching Shark Week, and I was like, man, they're wrestling in this fucking mall.
Fucking Shark Week.
Shark Week, bro. But yeah, man, I remember that, as crazy as that is.
That's Jushin Thunder Liger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he has his own cartoon, and the music he comes out to is the theme song for the show. Like it even says like Liger, like in the song and stuff. It's absolutely hilarious. Japanese stuff is absolutely hilarious to me, and I love it. It's just so cheesy. It's awesome.
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
And it's so hard for me to pick 5.
I know. Because you're a wrestling super fan, so you're going deep into
Because
the
there's literally
underground.
I could literally look at you right in the face and tell you, I just said the 5 because I said Pillman.
Yeah.
Because Brian Pillman, absolutely amazing to me. And the fact that now I get to work with his son, like I've had his son comes in for me all the time and works. I had him in Mannington, West Virginia. I've had him in Charleston. I had him in Cleveland. Like Brian, getting to work with his son is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Dean Malenko. I named my kid
Dean Malenko.
I named my kid Dean after him. Like
Crazy technical.
oh, absolutely.
Another guy in real life you would not want to fight.
And nobody realizes
You would
how
not.
old he was when we were watching him when we were young.
In his 40s, right?
He was like in his 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
When we were watching him 15 years ago.
Guy was in impeccable shape for a very long time.
Yes, his brother was even better. But Dean is the one that caught with me because of one promo, and this is hilarious because he said not one damn word. They literally went, so Dean, are you ready for your match tonight? He looks right at Mean Gene and goes back at the camera and just goes, cracks all of his knuckles at once, and then walks off. And like that, I was like, holy shit.
Bad motherfucker.
He's going to beat the shit out of somebody. And that right there was like, that was me.
Less was
So
more
I was
with-
just, boom.
Yeah.
I loved him from there. But Dynamite Kid, I wouldn't have got into wrestling if it wasn't for Dynamite Kid.
Yeah,
He
you
was
had
half.
mentioned him earlier,
He
too.
was half of WWE champions, WWF champions with the British Bulldog as the British Bulldogs. And he was from the Hart family. The British Bulldog was from the Hart family.
Right.
Owen.
Owen, yep.
the best heart out of them all. I'm sorry to
Yeah.
tell you that, but he was better than Brett.
Go fuck yourself.
He's better than Brett.
No disrespect, Owen Hart, but no.
100% better than Brett.
No.
Technically, everything.
Oh, get the fuck out of here.
You need to watch more Owen from Stampede Wrestling back in the day. Bret Hart says that himself.
Yeah.
You going to argue with Bret Hart?
Nope.
But
I'm gonna have to see it though.
But
I'm gonna have to see it.
dude,
Hey, Owen Hart was always slept on.
he was
Because he was kind of, the blue blazer and
How
the
the he-
goofy
how the
things,
hell-
and they always kind of goofed on him a little.
like, how the hell are you really going to think that he is better than Bret at that time when we're kids?
But he's
Because we knew Bret the way we did.
the wrestling styles were so similar that it was difficult to differentiate. Brett got all the glory. He got the big matches and stuff.
But the reason why I say Owen was a little bit above is because he could do everything Bret did, but he gave you the flash that's there too. Like, he gave you the kip ups and he did the stuff off the tops. And so that's why
he
that's
was
why
never-
a lot of people say he's got a little bit of a hand on
a lot less
Bret.
conservative.
And
Bret
plus-
Hart would conservatively wrestle because he understood. I mean, keep in mind, he was such a big draw that he would have to wrestle a lot. So he tried to preserve himself, like, in the matches and with his style of slowing matches down and utilizing the grappling.
I hate to ruin your day, but he is one of the least making world champions ever for WWE because nobody was watching.
That's a damn shame.
It's sad.
That's a damn shame.
The only
That's
the
why
only
I
person
say he's
beating him
underrated, yeah.
is Kevin Nash as Diesel. The only
always
worst,
liked
Daddy
Kevin
Cool.
Nash.
the worst money making champion for WWE was Kevin Nash as Diesel.
I always liked Kevin Nash.
I liked him too.
As Ricky Morton says, "Fuck Kevin Nash, piece of shit."
Dude, him and Scott Hall though. In
Scott
WCW,
Hall's the fucking man.
Scott Hall is the man.
He was the one that would wear the chainmail, right?
Razor Ramon.
As
Yeah.
Razor,
Yeah.
and he was the
BJ
Scarface,
Fucking throw
the Scarface type character.
Oh, he was so good.
He was awesome. But see,
That
the thing-
ladder match between him and
Sean.
HBK.
Oh yeah,
unreal.
Crazy.
Lasted like an
Crazy
hour.
good.
It was fucking crazy.
Yeah, I've actually talked with him about that match.
Yeah.
And he goes, that match was literally 20 minutes longer than it was supposed to be.
Yeah, oh,
He said-
guaranteed, yeah.
He said, we just went out there and did our thing. We didn't even realize it.
Yeah.
We didn't, and the ref didn't tell us to go home. So we didn't know any better. We were just going.
Yeah, dude, love it.
Because I guess Vince was in the back just going, I love it. Tell him to keep going.
Yeah.
So
One thing I want to talk about before we wrap it up. I actually got in a heated conversation with someone at the bar. That I work at.
that doesn't work out
about
well.
wrestling because they tried to suggest that the touring wrestlers schedule has nothing compared to like some of these professional athletes.
They're idiots.
I would like to talk about that. I would like to talk about how we
Do I know this person?
no.
Okay,
they're
thank
just
God.
a regular.
Because I was going to message
Yeah,
them.
yeah, no,
In
no,
fact,
no.
I need to know since he's a regular what time he's there so I can come.
I just, it made me mad because I was like, dude, how can you? I understand that it's entertainment and there's nothing synthetic or auditioned about gravity.
Yeah.
You got to take the bumps. And anyone who knows anything about wrestling can understand the physical wear and tear. 2-3 shows a week? Come on, dude.
On
That's-
top of
that's-
your regular training?
That's only right now.
On top of working out
you're,
and just
you're,
being sore
your professional level wrestlers are in the gym every single day.
every day.
and
Like
even
their
just
body's
that,
constantly broken
just
down.
that alone. I mean, look at powerlifters and strongmen where all they do is just lift and they're not doing shows.
Right.
They have awful lives whenever they get older because
Yes, they
their
do.
bodies just break down.
Right.
Yeah, and that's essentially what happens to wrestlers for the most part,
And it's such a dark world.
and
like,
that's what people don't really get. They just, they think since football's real, they're really out there hitting each other, and for some reason they think that just because you learn how to fall, the shit don't hurt. Like I know how to tackle you, and you know how to get tackled, but that shit still hurts.
Still hurts.
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
your body gets. I don't want to say used to it, but your body gets like tough to it. after
it's
a while.
resilient. It learns to develop. It calluses
Yeah.
itself to that kind of thing.
But there's no off season.
There is no off season,
And
there
that's-
isn't like, okay, we'll see you in the fall when wrestling
Yeah.
comes back.
Yeah.
Like it's just
Like,
365 happening all the time.
Baseball has 100 and some games, but where are they hurting each other? Where are they hitting each other? They're not. They're out there playing a sport. They're
Right.
hitting a ball. They're running
More
bases.
muscle-related injuries as it pertains to
Football.
playing in the summer. You
Football,
know,
they're tackling the shit out of each other. They're hurting each other.
Yeah.
They're beating the crap out of each other. But
Yeah.
guess what? 16 damn games a year, okay? So shut the hell up.
right?
And they're on a nice ass bus. They're getting iced off. They've got medics. Now, if you're in the WWE, that's all happening. But guess what? It's only the WWE where you're getting that.
Right.
Everybody else, they're in a gym. They're getting paid. They're leaving. They're going to fucking Sheets, getting a sandwich, and then they're driving home for 3-4 hours after they've been beat the shit out of.
Yeah.
In a car where they're probably too tall to be in the first place.
Yeah.
And then they're just going to go home and put, Ben Gay on or BioFreeze, and then they're going to put ice in a damn Ziploc baggie and put them on their knee for 2 days until it's time to go the next
again.
weekend. You know,
The weekend warrior.
the only people that's being treated like that at that level are the guys in WWE
Who make it to the highest
Exactly.
level.
So. So that doesn't count either. There's baseball. There's baseball. There's football. Basketball. Physical, yeah, they're pushing, they're shoving, but it's nowhere near football. Mm-hmm. They're playing 70, 80 games a season in basketball. I get that. It's kind of long, but still, again, every single one has an off season. Every single one has top-notch doctors.
Yeah.
All of them, all the time. WWE is the only one. There is no other one. Well, there's some others that are coming up now
Right.
that might have those type of benefits.
But independent wrestling promotions,
Yeah.
buddy, I hope you brought your own Medikit.
Exactly. And you better have damn good insurance.
Yeah.
Because if you don't and something happens, you're absolutely 100% screwed.
Yeah.
Um,
And I'm a sports guy too, which is what even made me even more mad. Like I'm a guy, I grew up playing football. I played rugby in high school and college.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I have nothing but love for guys who play those team sports, but I would never sit there and claim to be tougher than somebody who wrestles.
Yeah.
On the entertainment level,
And
because it's brutal.
Well,
it's fucking brutal.
Yeah.
And much like being an independent musician, if you're going to be there, you better love it because you're going to get a billion reasons to stop.
Stop. Exactly.
You better fucking love it.
Like that's how it was. Like the way I look at it is being an independent wrestler is like having to carry your 100-pound Mesa Boogie cab up Fuel's flight of steps at least 4 times a day. Continuously.
With a smiling moose.
With a smiling, yeah, oh yeah. Oh, screw that. But yeah, like okay, Dallas Cowboys. If
Yeah.
they're playing any team, they're getting on a plane and they're flying.
Right.
No, I know a dude that I hired that is going to get in his Toyota Corolla and drive all the way to West Virginia to get a payday. In that small ass car, he's going to drive himself. Hopefully, he gets 3 other dudes to jump in that car with him to make it easier on gas.
Yeah.
Probably one of them's going to be over 6 feet, so he's going to be uncomfortable no matter what.
That's a
the whole
long
time.
hike.
I mean, think about Andre the Giant. He didn't have planes that fit him. He had to ride in cars, and every single car couldn't fit him, but they still had to get to towns. So you got a guy that's Andre the Giant size that's a pro wrestler.
Drinking a case of beer in the car.
Drinking a case of beer every 2 hours.
Yeah.
And he gets out there. He's all cramped up. He's got to go out there, get ready to wrestle, get the shit kicked out of him. Then, after already being cramped up in a car for at least 4 hours, you're absolutely killing. You're that tall anyway, so you're hurting anyway. And then you got to cramp yourself back in that small ass car and make the next town the same day. And another thing, these guys aren't playing every damn day.
Yeah.
Like some basketball teams play every other day, baseball maybe every 3 days in a row, and then they got a day off or whatever. But these guys at that time were 7 days a week and twice on Sunday.
Right.
There would be an afternoon show and an evening show. So-
That's what I'm saying, people.
And
You
Shawn
don't know
Michaels-
shit about wrestling,
and-
so shut your mouth.
And Flair used to do it an hour every night.
Yeah.
An
Oh.
hour matches.
Yeah.
That's what he was known for.
If you haven't seen the Ric Flair 30 for 30, if you want to know a little bit more about the wrestling business, why don't you go check that out?
Actually, for you, if you haven't yet, there literally just came out on Viceland. I don't know if you heard about these, but Behind the Ring,
Ooh,
the dark side of the ring. They talk about the Montreal Screwjob, which they came out and said that everybody knew.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody involved knew.
Yeah.
And there's easy way to find that out and be like, oh no, Brett didn't know. No, everybody benefited.
Yeah. Oh, dude,
Everyone.
Brett got paid to go to WCW.
Brett got paid to go to WCW. Vince McMahon was now an asshole, so he could now go feud with Shawn.
No chance.
He was an
if
asshole, so
That's
now
what you got.
he could go feud with Stone Cold.
Yeah. Set it up
Everybody
nice.
benefited.
Yeah, set it up real nice.
So there's that. They talk about that. They do one on Savage and Elizabeth, and they explain how
Ooh, Hulk banged my girl, and I found out about it. Tell him what you gonna do.
he never did. It was he never did actually. He was just super schizophrenic and jealous all the time. Luger actually did, and Luger ended up killing her. That's a lot of stuff that people don't know.
Fuck.
Luger didn't do anything.
Save that for the next episode.
and then they even have, and this is the craziest one. And my dad my dad was literally getting ready to leave, and I turned it on. He's like, "Yeah, I'm leaving in like 5 minutes." I turned it on. 45 minutes later, he still hadn't left yet, and he was just like absolutely stunned
Yeah.
because he had no idea about this. But the Bruiser Brody story,
Yeah.
he was killed in a locker room by a wrestler because he was coming into his territory and taking his spot. So dude got mad and killed him in front of Tony Atlas, and Tony Atlas finally told the whole story.
Fuck.
On here. Him,
Viceland, right?
Yeah, him,
I'm checking it out.
Dutch Mantell, and who was the third one that was in that locker room? Because they talk about it. They tell the whole story. Abdullah the Butcher.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah. They
Jesus, you just blew my mind, dude.
and
I
they-
know what I'm doing tonight.
Yeah, and they talk about like that. It happened in Puerto Rico. Invader 2 stabbed him twice, boom, boom, in the shower because they were mad because Bruder Brody got enough money from his Japan work to where he was going to take over part of the business in Puerto Rico. Well, that was supposed to be his spot. And he knew that if Bruder Brody got a part of it, that dude was gone.
Damn.
And supposedly they were pushing him, that guy, the Invader 2, to be the big dog.
That's kind of like a cartel kind of situation
Exactly.
right there. It very much is.
And what's fucked up is they literally, like Tony Atlas freaks out, right? Grabs Bruiser Brody, pulls him over, sets him aside, doesn't let anything happen to him, finally gets him out of there, gets him to the hospital. It's like an hour before he even gets seen. He gets pissed, grabs a doctor, throws the doctor over his shoulder. He's like, "You're coming with me." Takes him to Bruiser Brody. He's like, "You got to look at him now. Look at him now." Takes his shoes off. His feet are like blue now. Yeah. And the doctor goes, "Hey, we got him stable. He's fine. The only thing that we're having a problem with is they did catch his liver and it's slashed open, but we got all of his organs put back together. He's stable." Tony Atlas goes back to the arena. He's like, "This is the thing that pissed me off the most." I go back there and there's laughter and they're talking about how great the show was that night. I thought they should have canceled the damn show, but they're all laughing. So I get pissed and I take the chair and I fling it across the room. And I guess the cops had came in this time. And the cop goes, Sir, what are you doing? Stop!" And he's like, "I'm sick of this shit and everybody's just acting like nothing happened." He goes, "Well, we were told." He said, "Did you see the fan that stabbed Brody?" And he went, "Fan? What were you told?" And he was like, we were told he was a random fan in the hallway, stabbed him twice, and he rolled into the locker room. That's what all the wrestlers in here are saying." And he was like, "That's bullshit. He right there." And he points at the dude that did it. He had went and changed his shirt, was just putting his gear on like no big deal.
Wow.
Like nothing.
That's sick.
And the cops just said, there was, all these wrestlers say that this is how it happened. And then one of the wrestlers come to Tony afterwards because Tony went out and worked the match against the Iron Sheik. Now, this is what's crazy about back in the day compared to now. There was a good locker room with the good guys, and then there was a bad locker room. They did not talk to each other literally until they hit that ring. So that'd be like, hey, I need Disillusion Effect to all write a song on their own, and then I need you to get in a room, and I just need you to perform your part.
Make it happen.
And make it happen. So there's just going to be a bunch of shit going on, and you don't know.
Yeah.
But that's how it is with wrestling, is they talked about it as they went. Tony Atlas got in a match with the Sheik, and they locked up, and they were talking to each other, and Sheik goes, so how's the Brody? Like, that's how he talked. He's like, how's the Brody? And he's like, he's good. They got him stable, but he was like, damn fan, like Iron Sheik's pissed that a fan, stabbed him. And he goes, fan, that wasn't no damn fan. Hector did it. And because that was the dude's actual name. And like, I guess Iron Sheik got pissed. Stopped the match. The match only lasted for like 2 minutes. They stopped the match. He just walked out of the match and walked to the back to go find him. The Iron Sheik did. Tony gets to the back, and he finds out one of the other wrestlers, named Savio Vega, he had got all of his stuff and got his bag and everything and ready to roll. And as soon as Tony got to the back, he went and grabbed Tony and got him out of the building and said, bro, you talked. These guys are coming after you. You need to get out of here. So he immediately flew back to the States and got back here. I think like a month after, they tried to pulled that Hector guy in, and they pulled the other guy in, and they made it sound like it was self-defense, and that's why he stabbed him, and that's why nothing ever happened in Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico's crazy. I would never ever want to go there for anything.
Wow.
Yeah, because Puerto Rico, that was another thing. Like, it was just so real to them. Like there was like, there'd be 6 matches on the card, and 4 of them had blood. You know, like it was just so real there, and they saw the way Brody acted, and like he would come out like a bat out of hell, flinging a chain. He didn't give a shit. He'd hit fans with the chain. Like that back in the day, it was just like, yo, get the hell away from me type character.
Right.
So the fact that happened, someone came up to Tony and was like, Tony, did you hear what happened? And he was like, what, brother? And he was like, they caught him, they found him not guilty. He goes, what the hell? They didn't even ask me to come back. They didn't talk to me at all. I had nothing to do with they didn't call me to be a part of the jury or anything, like be a part of the investigation. And he got off with self-defense, and still to this day, he's just in Puerto Rico. Just like the last picture of him, he's at a family get together, like at a birthday party.
Wow.
And he's just got his picture taken with his family, like
Dark
no
world
big
of
deal.
wrestling, man.
That's literally what it is. And like my dad at the end was just like, "Holy shit! I had no idea this happened."
Yeah.
And
now
I mean,
you wouldn't, because that's what they wanted to
that's
happen.
that's what
Sweep it under
the
the
internet
rug.
did, though. Back in the day.
Yeah. Well, information is so hard to get out.
Yeah, they didn't talk about that shit in magazines. It was just
No.
Bruiser Brody died.
Right. The editor's like, we're never putting that in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was just it's been like, wow. And they've got like 3 or 4 more that they're going to talk about. The big one, they haven't even done the big one yet, and that's about oh crap. Literally, it just slipped my mind. If I talk about it, it'll probably come back to me. But it's about one of the guys that was in Texas wrestling back in the day, WCCW. And his partner was the gentleman Chris Adams that trained Stone Cold Steve Austin. And a lot of people said that he killed himself, but it's came out recently that he was murdered by someone, but still, yet nobody knows. And this episode is going to be the very first time his mother actually talks about it.
Oh, God.
So I'm looking forward to this one, because like even fans that aren't like wrestling fans can watch
it's a
this
legit
stuff and be
crime
like,
story.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
crime
yeah,
stories.
yeah.
If you're into crime stories, you dig it.
Yeah.
And there's that.
My late night fix.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yes. Make sure you check it out. And there's going to be a Von Erich one too, about like all the Von Erichs
Oh, wow.
from Texas killing themselves and stuff too. So there's like a 6-part piece one.
Yeah.
And then because the reason why I know about this, because I was listening to I was listening to XM Radio. They have a wrestling thing on there. And they talked to the guy that did these shows, and they said they actually had started on the next set of shows already.
Yeah.
And one of them was was a newer one that was absolutely like, here's a big crazy one that no one knows about, and they told us stories about what they're going to do. So hopefully this kind of continues, and then people can see that side.
Get more
of it.
familiar people, get educated,
Yeah,
and see that you don't understand the business, and just
Get
like
learned.
professional sports,
Get learned on
there's
it.
a dark underbelly to all the glit and the glam that you don't get to see.
Yeah, that's not
Much like in rock and roll,
but that's not in like
Hollywood.
But it's
and
not
anywhere.
in like sports though. It's not. You don't get these kind of stories with like. So I
They're,
was in the
they're
NFL.
more rare. Yeah, they're more rare.
I think the craziest NFL story was that Hernandez guy, wasn't it?
There's a lot.
there's been a lot.
There's a lot.
I mean,
of
there's
I
a
think
lot.
the NFL just has more money to throw at.
They got more
covering
hush
things.
hush money.
Quietness.
They got more
hush
quiet
hush
money.
quiet money.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, wrestling fans are just so like, I want to know as much as I possibly can.
Sure,
Type
yeah. Gotta know
fan base to where it's out there for people want to know this. There's some people out there who's just like, nope, I don't want to know this about this football player, or I don't want to know that Joe Theismann's a drunk, or
Sure.
stuff like that. So it's just like I don't want that.
Can't take the brand.
But yeah, I'm all about these stories and
crime.
but what's cool is like
And the crime.
I wouldn't say cool, but like I've heard some of these stories from actual wrestlers that were around at that time, from me being on the road with them as well.
Yeah.
And that's a whole
new thing.
that's a whole other side of things. Absolutely insane. Like a good thing though, like when I was talking about Kevin Sullivan, is Kevin Sullivan told me the whole story and everything about why he turned Hulk Hogan bad
yeah.
on NWO. Nobody wanted him to do that. In fact, no one at all of Hogan's press team did not want that to happen.
Guaranteed.
At all. They're like,
Shock the world.
We're making too much money. If you do that, we'll lose it all, blah, blah, blah. To the point to where Kevin was like, Hogan, my house is a half hour from the venue that night. You come and stay with me the night before. He had Hulk Hogan come and stay with him the night before in his house.
Talked it out.
His spokesperson came with him, but Kevin was like, I don't trust them. They can sleep on the couch in the living room. Hogan slept in the spare room, and it wasn't until a half hour before it was time for Hogan to show up. Well, it was time for Hogan to go out there. They showed up a half hour before that. Kevin drove him there in his own car. They showed up, sent him out. If Hogan wouldn't have done it, they were sending out Sting.
No NWO. And well, it's NWO is born, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
The shock of when Hogan turned heel was,
Oh,
as
dude.
a kid, it was fucked up to see.
Nobody would have. Yeah, dude. I was just like,
To see what he
holy
did to the
shit.
Macho Man and everything like that, it was just like, oh man, like what is happening here? This is some Twilight
With the
Zone
way
shit.
they teased it, it wouldn't have worked as well with Sting.
No, hell no.
They talked about Brett, but it wouldn't have worked as well with Brett.
No, it wouldn't have.
It had to be Hogan, and thankfully, and Hogan still says thankfully as well. He was like, thankfully I listened to Kevin,
Saved his career.
Kevin, and I went out there, and because Kevin was the booker at that time, he's the one that said what you do. He was the one that was just like, listen, this is what you're doing. I guess it was Owen's funeral actually. And Kevin saw Hulk in the all black with the black bandana and the everything. And he was like,
There's something to that.
there's something here that would
Yeah.
work. So that's huge. Another thing that I thought was really, really, really cool is he told me that before Brian Pillman went to WWE, and before he got in his accident with his ankle, Kevin Sullivan was going to have Pillman be WCW's Stone Cold. Like he had the same idea, but with Pillman, and didn't know that Steve was going to go do that in WWE.
Yeah.
So imagine Pillman being WCW Stone Cold. What would have happened?
Crazy shit.
Finding out those type of stories from the actual person is just absolutely crazy. And he talked about how I looked right at him. I was like, wait a minute. Okay, so you're the one that decided all this. All right, I have to ask, who decided on how they were going to take Goldberg's streak? He rolls his eyes at me and goes, I could only make that clusterfuck as good as it possibly could. And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, there was a lot of people in the office that time. I didn't have as much pull as I had, and I had to take everybody's input and make something out of it. So he was like, I wasn't happy about it, and I didn't want to do it either. But there was people that making more money than me telling me what I had to do. So,
And that's a good way to end it right there.
but
That's the biz, kids.
yeah,
Tell everybody where to find Real Shoot Wrestling. All
you
the
can-
handles, all the plugs.
all the ridiculousness that is social media. You can find us on Facebook at RSW or Real Shoot Wrestling. We have two because we have a Cleveland company and the one here in West Virginia. So you can find us at Real Shoot Wrestling, and that'll be the Cleveland one. RSW is the local one in West Virginia. It's facebook.com/RSW Live. Twitter is at RSW Live. Instagram is at RSW Live. Snapchat, Real Shoot Wrestling. I think that's all the big social. We have YouTube, Real Shoot Wrestling.
Check it out. Subscribe.
so
Give them
you
a
guys are
like.
on everything.
Give them a follow.
Yeah, it's out there because we try to be like a big internet type based
You got
company.
to. Got to
so
nowadays.
we're out there. You can catch us on Nothing Else on .tv streaming service. It's a network to where you pay like $5 a month and you get to watch all this wrestling from all over the world.
Nice.
We were lucky enough to be. They contacted us and asked us if we wanted to be on that, and of course I was like,
Absolutely.
yes,
Said
totally.
nothing else.tv.
Nothing else on .tv.
Nothing else on .tv.
Yeah, so we're on there, and just kind of working on some basic channels right now for like local areas. Mm-hmm. We're trying to work on that. So
And be sure to check
we'll
out
see
a
what
local
happens
show.
there.
We got some stuff
But,
this month.
May 4th,
Yeah.
we're in Mannington, West Virginia. May 18th, we're in Fairmont, and May 24th, we're in Buchanan.
Awesome.
So
Tim, thank you so much for coming today, man. This is a lot of fun talking wrestling and shooting the shit. It was,
yeah,
it was
I
a good time.
appreciate the hell out of you guys inviting us, and would love to come back at any time.
We love you, Tim. Thank you, brother.
Thank you.